Hey, welcome to episode 9 of Poolside Sales Chat. This is Borges. I am the host of the Social Business Engine podcast, and this Poolside Sales Chat is where I hang out by my pool on Friday afternoons at 3:15 p.m. U.S. Eastern. Maybe you're in Europe and you're already at dinner, or maybe you're out in Hawaii and you're still having breakfast, or somewhere in between. So every Friday afternoon, usually, weather permitting, also health permitting, I like to jump on here and record a poolside sales chat. I always have a topic, and on this week, I want to talk to you about three ways that B2B sales professionals are superb marketers. Yes, I said that. I really said that. Really successful B2B sales professionals are superb marketers. Hey, look, the lines between marketing and sales have blurred. Once upon a time, marketers were mostly known as creatives. They were best known for designing advertising campaigns. And of course, marketers still design ad campaigns, but that's primarily what they were known as. And also, once upon a time, sales professionals were known as hard charging, cold calling, hard selling closers. But you know what? Once upon a time, gasoline cost 50 cents. Times have changed, and they've changed a lot. So really what I'm here to talk about today is how the best B2B sales professionals are great marketers. So let's face it, we live in this digital age, and so the best B2B sales professionals have adopted marketing principles to market themselves individually. So I want to cover with you 3 pillars on how the most successful B2B sales professionals are using these 3 marketing pillars to be successful as sales professionals. Number 1, branding. All marketers are always thinking about branding. A brand, what is a brand anyway? Because, over the years I've heard lots of different definitions. I'm going to share with you my favorite definition of a brand. And here it is. You promise to be to your customers. It's the promise that you make to your customers. Really simple, but the best definition that I've ever heard of a brand. And it can apply not only to a corporate brand, but also to you. So marketers are always thinking about aligning with that brand promise. Everything a marketer does from a communication standpoint, whether it's a website, whether it's an ebook, a webinar, a video, a podcast, whatever it is, print material, it always has to be produced by the marketing team in alignment with the brand promise. So I want to ask you, what's your brand promise? Have you defined it? Have you written it down? I suggest that you write it down and look for the gap between your brand promise and how you're behaving. So I'll give you a simple little example. Let's say you sell medical supplies. You're typically selling to hospital systems. And let's say you sell medical supplies in the orthopedic discipline. So the promise of your brand might be quality medical supplies within that specific discipline of healthcare. So everything that you do as a B2B sales professional, in the way that you engage online, how you touch people, the content that you curate and share, it should all be aligned with that brand. So just ask yourself, are you curating that kind of content? Are you creating that kind of content? Are you involved in groups, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook, that are around that topic, that discipline, and aligning with your brand? So pillar number 1 is branding and how you are delivering on your brand promise. Marketing pillar number 2 that the most successful B2B sales professionals use is being visually centric online. I bet you've noticed, I'm being a little sarcastic here, I bet you've noticed that social media is very visual. Again, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah, back in 2007, even 2010, it wasn't nearly as visual as it is today. Every social channel is visual now, including LinkedIn and of course Twitter. And I'm only singling those out simply because from a B2B social selling standpoint, those are the 2 most dominant social channels. Yes, I know we can also engage on Facebook, but all social channels are visual. So you should also embrace visual content in the way that you engage online. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to be a Photoshop certified individual to create great visuals. Start with your smartphone. Just pull out your smartphone and use the camera. I'd show you my smartphone, but I'm kind of using it right now to record this video, so I can't do that, but you get the idea. Your smartphone has one of the best cameras that you've probably ever owned. Unless, of course, you're a photography buff and you've owned, lots of great cameras. You get the idea. Take pictures that you can use. So I'll give you a couple of examples. So maybe you can take pictures at company functions, like birthday parties, for example, or customer events, or user conferences. Now, these examples that I just gave you are fairly obvious, kind of low-hanging fruit, but make sure you know what your company policy is. Make sure you know what you're permitted to take and not take. Now, if you are restricted from taking pictures and using those pictures, then curate and share pictures either from within the industry that are safe, that you can use according to company policy, or curate and share the pictures that your marketing communications team is producing. They're going to love you if you do that. They're basically going to say, hey, there's an ambassador for our brand. And they'll probably come reach out to you and ask you to kind of engage with you even more. So use and share and leverage the pictures that your corporate communications team is already producing, or those that are within the industry. But again, make sure you're compliant within your company policy. Okay, so let's get to marketing pillar number 3 that B2B sales professionals use to be most successful in marketing themselves. And number 3 is conversion centric, thinking with conversions in mind. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're always thinking about converting to a close. Sure, well, not every sales conversation is in a position to convert to a close. And of course, in B2B sales, you know that, right? Now, in marketing, marketers are always thinking about conversions. But primarily, the kind of conversions that marketers are thinking about are converting a visitor to a contact. Typically, I'm talking about a visitor to a website or a landing page, or maybe even at a trade show. Visitor to a contact. You should be thinking about converting contacts into sales conversations. Now, to remember one of my previous poolside sales chat episodes, I think it was episode 6, but I'm not quite sure. Just go to our YouTube channel at Social Business Engine and you'll see it. I talk about how the B2B buyer spends about 70% of the first 70% of the evaluation process doing research online. So what you can do is you can seek to convert that invisible research into a sales conversation, even if it's not necessarily with the buyer, but finding the people that are influential to the buyer and engage with the buyer, finding those people, and by being a trustworthy resource, a source of valuable and relevant content and information about what's going on in your industry and how your product solves problems, then you can convert those kinds of contacts into conversions. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 3 pillars. Let me just sum them up for you before I wrap up episode 9 of Poolside Sales Chat. Successful B2B sales professionals think like a marketer, and they use these 3 marketing pillars. Number 1, they think about branding themselves and being aligned with their company's brand. Number 2, they embrace the visual aspect of social media and they use visual content. And number 3, they're always thinking about conversion, not just conversion to a close, but conversion from contact into sales conversation. So there you have it. One final thought on this. A lot of you in B2B sales are already doing this, but you're doing it subconsciously. And it's proven that a conscious competent is more successful than an unconscious competent. Meaning, if you're doing this sort of unconsciously, embrace it and do it consciously, and you'll actually up your game and be even more successful. All right, well, that is going to do it for episode 9. This is Bernie Borges of Social Business Engine. Hey, for more content like this on social business and social selling, visit us at socialbusinessengine.com. Until next week's Poolside Sales Chat, this is Bernie Borges wishing you continued sunshine. See ya.